abusuan like video e share mo before for na ono nso enye bi enhwe sim card registration process a honorable Sam George akofade abai amagana fokoko apaye pa isanse nyina ye nim se abra MPP ewa aban mu no sim card registration etumi ekoso ema chese queues ahodo ene adagye esei wo mamu ha no enya asem ketwa enei honorable Sam George ono ye minister for communications and digitalization edi abetudwa se sim card registration ekoso under NPP regime no ankoye still na loopholes bi wom enti no yensanso nya no foforo na yensanso ntabri omani sika ensanso koye registration foforo a ama enei amanfo buafu yie pa isanse wi adagye eni mre bese no kra omani sika yesanso tam edi akodi dwuman na ebi kyemu nse nke betumi a anka baby a MPP yedi dru no anka omonto asomom danse yesanso ko restart the whole process no foforo no na chese enhyeda entwe yie na kojo prekun dankwa etumi ni abadwafo atranse omotimi adi nkomo ebiebie nsem so pa de mrahye bedwafo eka de afa ho ene de Ghana fo nso so eka nyina no ebegibre na yakotie bi yenso yadwenkyere efa nsem no ho no yetumi edi atu comment section.
Senior will introduce you the whole thing from the start. You know, 2011 we were told that we need to do SIM registration, but Ankoyi, and the reasons why Ankoyi, you know, is very simple. And you see various ID cards are yet to be verified. Voter ID card, now there were none of the ID card institutions had systems able to verify OB ID easily. So telco, who call telco, that's a register. Telco need to mean electoral commission and DVLE and passport office. There's no system, there's no technology on better you see. So sometimes no, even NCA now to even set up a call center. So now they will call. So sometimes it can take more than a day or two before they can come back and come and say, oh, this card is valid or is not valid. So and at the time now, the NCA was pushing everybody, government was pushing everybody to do that registration. Telcos no bad because remember from day one I started SIM registration, the telcos have been paying for it. So at the time, the telcos were saying we are going to pay for this thing, but the way senior it won't inure to our benefit because we will never be able to know who is really who because we cannot verify the ID cards. Yeah, the Omokaya government say champions. At the end of the day, Telecom Chamber came out with a figure saying the telcos wasted $25 million doing that exercise, and it ended in nothing. Then come 2022, Madam Eslawusu comes and says, "What fixing problem?" So she knows what to do. Then she brings in a third party institution to come and assist NCA. Mind you, say you can say Ghana card. A Ghana card. Anybody who is registered for Ghana card, when you go, your biometrics will be taken. Biometrics is almost year. There is a way they collect our biodata. Fingerprint, they have a POS system there. The way of the picking is you will touch the fingerprint, you will touch the POS system with your fingers, and then they will capture it. So that's the system they use, and then they'll take your picture and everything. Then Madam Eslawusu comes and said that there's a third party institution that is coming to help NCA to do this exercise in the name of Kelly GBG. And Kelly GBG is developing app. The app now will develop already. The app is supposed to capture our biodata again. Now this time, the system now we used to capture our biodata was not the tax, the POS tax system. And this one, they almost used to phone. SQT that take a screenshot of your fingers, so you stretch your fingers like this, then they take a screenshot. NIA came out. NIA. Executive Secretary Professor Atefa came out and said the way you are taking this biodata, we cannot verify those biodata against our database because the system we use in collecting our biodata is not the same one that is using. Madam Eslawusu said on TSA, she wanted, in fact, it went down to the point that she wanted NIA to be subservient to NCA. which is the Ministry of Communication agency, subsidiary to NCA. And can I take for instance? No, I don't answer to Ministry of Communication. I answer to Ministry of Interior. So if anything, go and talk to the Ministry of Interior. It became a confusion. So at the end of the day, they created a two-step registration system where when you go to register, you are now going to send go to star 404 hash. Then exactly, then NI will confirm that your Ghana card is valid. So NI only confirms that your Ghana card is valid. As to whether you the one sending the Ghana card details, you are the owner of the Ghana card. NI cannot tell. All they can tell is that the Ghana card you have sent is valid. Good. Once it is validated, then they send you a code. Then you give the code to the telco. And the telco will now come and sit you down. Then they have to do what they call liveliness test, where they now check and see whether you, the one holding the card, is actually the owner of the card. Now this is where they have to use the app. So this is where we have to queue, because people are taking the data with queue. Now NCA told us at the time that the app is so strong, say the only data that can enter the app is not a picture, but your live, you have to be there. Your live image you have to be taken, and then they will enter into the system before you can be validated. Now here we are. We have done for about 40 million people. We come today. So now you are asking me. You said that I was at the engagement. So the engagement, what came out of the engagement is a confirmation of what the NIA said at the time, that not a single one of the fingerprints taken could be matched against the NIA database. So when they tried to do the match, 0%, not even a single one could be matched. That's number one. Then number two, a lot of the SIM cards that also entered the SIM register that they created were also fraudulently registered, because a lot of them didn't do liveliness test. So like you could use some of the owner's card, and then the app was supposed to have done a liveliness test to then capture you and say that, oh, you are not the owner of that card. But for some way, somehow, that process was circumvented. So about 19%, per the audit that NCA did, about 90% of the SIMs in that SIM register were fraudulently registered, because it is possible. Even the 81% that they say is valid, we still don't know whether who presented the cards are actually the owners of the card. So the process that Sam George and his team, the NCA, is coming to do now, which is going to include something I suggested in 2023, which Esla Dames threw away, is that when you go and register your SIM, once you register your SIM, your Ghana card and your SIM, it will be matched. So the first number you register, it will become your private number. So anytime another number is coming to be linked to that your card, your Ghana card, you will be sent an OTP on your primary number.
Okay. So
that you have to then confirm and see that are you the one trying to link the thing, or somebody else trying to link the thing. If you don't enter the OTP, that process will be truncated. Once you enter the OTP, it means you know about that number, so then it will be entered. I suggested this, they didn't listen. Now it has been included. And so this one will stop the fraudulent SIMs from entering. And so mind you will notice that in the coming one, when all of us, we sit in our home. So now the coming one is a self-service thing. Remember that you said that the self-service one, we have to pay 5 cents.
Yes.
This time it is starting from self-service, and it is still zero. It is still going to be paid by the telcos.
Okay.
The telcos will pay for it. So we sit in our homes, won't pay anything. So and then anytime somebody tries to link any SIM to your card, you will get a message. Once you get a message and you don't enter the OTP, that thing will never happen. So it will cut out all the fraud. So a lot of the people who registered their SIMs by using other people's numbers, they will not even show up to come and register. They will not even show up. So all those numbers will be deactivated. Okay. So basically, these are the two major reasons why we need what was done under Eslawusu's regime. If you ask me, from my understanding of what SIM registration is, it was not SIM registration. It was just a procurement that was given to a certain private company to just generate a certain data, and then they go and see that data at a meter. For whatever purpose they generated that data, only God knows. Because that data, as I'm talking to them, it is useless to us. And yet they call it, they call it our central SIM register. And yet we cannot verify anything anytime you want to. Now as I'm talking to you now, some of the even before this process started, some of the telcos have started going to NIA themselves to go and link their system to NIA directly. So if the SIM register we say we built is viable, why are telcos going to NIA directly to go and link? Because a lot of people want to do SIM swap, a lot of people want to do all kinds of transactions. They realize that they cannot verify, so they have to go to NIA directly. Because they cannot verify against the so-called SIM register that we claim that we built. It has been breached. I reported that it was breached. They came to call me out. But today it has been confirmed that indeed that register was breached, and that's why we need to do a proper SIM registration.
So Sammy, before I call National Secretary Mobile Advocacy Ghana, Ura Kingsley Amakohono, Sammy, you are telling us that the 28 or 29 million SIM card registration cost so ESLA era, no, we shouldn't be happy. Say you will be bisa or hono. We should see it as not something that we should have as a country, as a nation, to say once upon a time we registered almost 28 million people.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are even giving a conservative figure, but we were talking about 40 million, because you see SIM cards are, remember that active SIM cards are more than the population of Ghana.
Yeah.
We are talking about 40 million SIM cards. Do you understand? So yes, you may find some of them that the people who actually presented the Ghana card were actually the owners of those Ghana cards, and all. But I'm saying that now I'll be validated because I went to present my own Ghana card. You will be validated because you present your own Ghana card. But I'm telling you that your fingerprint that was taken during the SIM registration cannot be matched against your fingerprint at NIA.
Wow, interesting. Hold on, Mame Kokra. Kingsley, I'm Wakwata, National Secretary Mobile Advocacy Group. So what line is what? Tell us, time where Samuel is coming from, Samuel Dowona is coming from. It means that now or how be now no ewo ho emamo. Mamintio fiti eslamo time meka last government no re-registration on we no ekwisi se serma me no ka say or how ben pa any challenges ben pa na mafam so far, Kingsley.
All right, Medasi. The association is Mobile Money Advocacy Group Ghana. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. But from what Mr. Dowona was saying, in fact, we share the same sentiment. You see, with the registration, as he's saying, you know that when you are supposed to take the fingerprint, the biometric thing, the fingerprint thing, sometimes people the masons and the fitters, so to speak, sometimes their fingerprints are very difficult to pick.
Okay.
So sometimes anybody can come, put a finger there, you capture any fingerprints, and it goes through. Sometimes when they come, you ask them of their GPS address, they don't have. An agent who wants to speed up business will put any GPS address there, and it goes through. So we have seen this. Then again, some of the agents, unscrupulous agents, will register SIM all in the name of network. Then at the blind side of yours, they can register about 2-3 SIMs unknown to you. And when you are gone, they will sell those SIMs to fraudulent people to perpetrate fraudulent activity. So we know all these things are there. So when the new SIM re-registration thing came, for us, we were happy with it. Because there are so many people defrauding our customers. In fact, if our customers are not there, we are not there. So anything that goes against our customers, we are also interested. So we're so happy to hear that new re-registration thing is coming. And from what Mr. Dowona is saying, the OTP thing that they are bringing in will help us very well.
Okay.
So I think it's in place. And then with this, we thought as an association, Mobile Money Advocacy Group, we thought of having our voice to be heard. So we wrote to the minister when he came to office that there are 1 or 2 things that we need to discuss with him, because during his vetting, he said that the same re-registration thing will be revisited. So we're happy. So we wrote to him that we want to see him or want to visit so that we share 1 or 2 things. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the opportunity. We did a reminder, but still we've not got it. But it's good. Most of the things that are affecting us, Mr. Dowona has just said it. So we are hoping for a better SIM registration. Otherwise, it affects our business.
As a behamo power. Okay. Hold on, Menko. Mamenko the Honorable Abed Nego Lamagin Bandim, MP for Bumprugu, member of Information and Communication Committee, or Ahumanas Zoom, Namenko the home brasisia, because clearly the real Nemanisi corner that we need to enter into Parliament to really find out what really had transpired some years back to date. It's honorable Sotemenka, my main business has we clearly it falls on your lap. A select committee on Information and Communication Committee as to these challenges na wohono but obi bisa say eti time and ye shasie eslamo time the MPP time no na what was on the table a select committee that really was approved that we should continue to do that registration.
Okay, thank you, my brother, for having me, and let me say a very good evening to your viewers and listeners, and of course my co-panelists this evening.
Thank you.
I thank you for the platform.
Thank you.
I am the MP for Bumprugu, and the name is Abednego.
Abednego, okay, right.
I see why you are struggling. You are struggling with the name, because the Abednego, my Abednego, is spelled with a hyphen.
Yeah.
So I see the reason why you are struggling with it, but it is not different from the biblical
Abednego that we know. Okay.
It is the same, actually.
Okay.
It's just that my class 1 teacher spelled it when I showed up with a hyphen. So
very well.
It appeared on my first certificate, so I just left it like that. But it's Abednego.
Okay. Very well. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Let me start by also saying that I'm the chairman of the Information and Communications Committee of Parliament.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not just a member.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I was a member of the committee in the 8th Parliament.
Okay.
And in this 9th Parliament, I have been made the chairperson.
Okay, thank you.
Now let me go to the substantive issue.
Sure.
I have been in the communications industry for a very long time.
Very well.
I have worked with the National Communications Authority before, for almost a decade before I transited to do politics. So I am very much conversant with the happenings in the industry. And I must also say that I was actually one of the staff of the National Communications Authority leading the first SIM card registration process.
Okay.
And I understand fully what we are talking about. When we introduced the first SIM card registration exercise in 2011, the authority decided to pass a law. So we took an LI, a regulation to Parliament that was passed into an LI to regulate the activities of SIM card registration. And we were able to collaborate with every stakeholder in the industry. So NIA had just started registration of Ghanaian citizens. They were part of the stakeholders that were engaged. Then, at that time, because NIA had not really registered much people in the country, we also added the passport office that held some data of our citizens. Then we had the EC, the Electoral Commission, also had some data of our citizens. Then we had the DVLA, and we had also, I think, the SNIT. In fact, there were 5 IDs that we were using to register the SIM card. Then, when the MPP came into power and Madame Oslo, who became the minister, decided to do SIM card re-registration. But the processes that he went through, we in Parliament, serving on the committee, drew her attention that it was the wrong way that she was going about with the procedure.
Okay.
But of course, as one of your panelists espoused, she wasn't listening to anybody. For the past 8 years, Madam Oslo Owusu was the telecoms sector. She was the telecommunications sector, and the telecommunications sector was Madam Owusu Ekufo, because she wouldn't listen to anybody. Even the people that she was working with, she was not listening to them. In the previous one, apart from those who held the national data that we engaged with, we also had to engage with other stakeholders such as the Information Service Department and the NCCE, National Commission on Civic Education, right? All of these were supposed to assist with public relations activities so that we can have an informed citizen who would understand why there was the need for SIM card registration and be willing to avail his or herself to register his or her SIM cards. And it was successful. But when we realized that the National Identification Authority had now fully registered majority of Ghanaians, she decided that she would do that registration, but she went through it the wrong way. One, the process was very wrong. The IT solution that she introduced for self-registration was very poor. And we told her that it was not going to work. Secondly, her relationship with the National Identification Authority was also very poor. In fact, now you can hear even the president of the country now, today, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is now telling us that because of that poor relationship she had with the then Director General of NIA, Professor Ken Etefua, there was very, very little or no collaboration between the two agencies. And there was no way you were going to succeed if you didn't relate well with the NIA, because they hold the central database. It is for them. It is an institution that was established by law of Parliament. So you are not going to just disrespect them and expect that they will cooperate with you. Mind you, that agency was under the of communications before the NPP came to power. But when she became the Minister for Communications, and because of a very poor working relationship with other agencies and that agency, in fact, it was moved from the Communications Ministry to the Interior Ministry. So now they are under the Interior Ministry as indicated by my brother, the first speaker.
Yes, Samuel Dowona.
Yes, Samuel Dowona, exactly. So to be very honest with you, Oslo Owusu didn't do the industry any good, and as far as the SIM card registration is concerned, it was poorly done, poorly managed. So in the end, we are left with a data that is not fit for any purpose at all. In the first place, when she appeared before the Parliamentary Select Committee on Communication, we asked her who was responsible for the data that was being collected and whether that agency had satisfied itself with the Data Protection Commission, because everyone holding data in this country is supposed to register and be certified with the Data Protection Commission. But we noticed that they were not. And I drew her attention that it was an illegality because we didn't know who was going to control that data in the first place. Thirdly, we also realized that it was a company that has nothing to do with government. that was going to collect this data. We again warned her that because there was no collaboration between the telecom operators and that of the NIA, we were not going to have an adequate data, the data that we needed to prevent fraud and all criminal activities. But she didn't listen to us. She rather forced Ghanaians and then created deadlines, and there were people who were forced to go and queue in the night to be able to register their SIM cards. So my colleague who spoke earlier actually hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
When he said that the data was a mismatch and actually very poor in synchronization with the national identification data. That is very true. Today we are left up with a database that is not fit for purpose, that cannot assist us to fight crime, and that is not protecting the citizens enough. So that data is useless, and whoever is keeping that data, in fact, I tell you that he may have even sold that data to somebody. I mean, I have no evidence to that, but for the way she went about it is very questionable what she needed that data for. Also, you remember there were no logistics, there were logistical challenges.
Yeah.
And that was what resulted to the long queues. Even the NIA themselves told us at the time that there were still a huge number of Ghanaians that were not registered and didn't have what? The NIA card. So why were you registering? And you had a certain limited number of SIM cards that you could register. So if I am a business person and I was able to register about 3 or 4 SIM cards, and I have a mother who has no Ghana card, or a wife or children who had no Ghana card, how was I able to register them using my own card? Because I would have exceeded the number that I was permitted to use to register. So it ended up with mobile network agents, those who were responsible for registering, to fictitiously use other SIM card, ID card. So the system was designed in such a way that you could enter any number, any long digit, and it will accept you. So whether that number belongs to an ID of a person or not, it will go through. And there were situations where they copied, you come with your ID card, use it to register, they copy the number or the details on the ID card and use it to register other people that you didn't know. So somebody's name could have been registered in the name of your ID card. Somebody's SIM card could have been registered in your name that you didn't know. And if that person used it to commit a crime, we're going to trace it to you innocently.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So the data mismatch and then the lack of coordination between the NIA and the Ministry of Communication, together with lack of what? Logistical, and then the technical and the system failures that we experience has rendered that database very, very useless, and therefore they need to do another SIM card registration. And I'm telling you that this time it is properly planned with all stakeholders involved.
Okay.
And it is done in such a way that you will register it at the comfort of your house. You will not need to go and queue, and it will be for free for every citizen. Nobody will pay a kobo for it.
And you're so sure that this one is going to be the final re-registration of SIM cards?
Yes, if we get it right, there will be no need for another SIM card registration in the future. We will not need that.
Okay.
I am telling you that it is properly planned, and when the National Communications Authority rolls out the procedure, you will realize that it is planned with every stakeholder that matter together with the operators.
Okay.
And once that is captured, we will never have a SIM card registration again.
Okay, and I will stay online for me whilst I come to Nana Kofi Annan, who is an IT expert, listening to all the things that has been said from the IT perspective. Na yenti don also kakao indeed. Honorable MP, na first chairman of the committee, Edia to just say the data no more clear. First one, Eslam what time no, really truly Sami Swaka and then Kingsley Swaka, it was not really, matching the processes and all that. When we're doing these ones, we can say, na IT form way, now we can say, na Moshe, did you raise any red flags on all these matters? No, raising Anna.
I think my other colleagues have spoken to that, and during that time, we had a lot of IT personnel coming from different angles, sharing their views on it. Yeah, and so me share when it comes to this kind of systems. I always look at it from a centralized view. As a nation, anytime we are talking about a legacy database, a system that is going to take almost everybody's data into one system. Definitely it is a legacy system, and that system must be centralized.
Okay.
And Titama NIA I was happy about it.
Okay.
And because they were going to be the custodians of our identification system. Now, for you to be able to have a good identification system, there must be a primary source.
Okay.
Source be and no yet the original one. Anytime be no, we buy the compare.
Okay.
Say, oh, ampa wuni, ampa with data no, correct. Ampa good. Now that source no, you for as a human being now, original one anka say you are that natural source.
Okay.
Original as a human being, you are that natural source of your identity. The natural source na yewo. Enti information bi a wo wo ho a ebema echina bi etum de identify say won na yehu wandra no it stays with you. Enti wo na wo be release this information no e de ama whoever needs it na echina no or there no across check you. Say what can say within the kwame ampa eyewa adan me fa bio data me check na eyewa. Now that primary data na we need to be able to have it at any point in time. Able to cross check. Now manually, no, it will not be that effective.
Okay.
Until we have technology coming in. Until that technology, no, and no na NIA for by ya or that natural data na. And ma we who you are na as you to identify one or more training na edugu efidie so.
Okay.
Enti yaje wudin yaje wo mami din wo papa din. It was a very lengthy data collection. Into kwatena why take it time. No ma checking na no we are contact biometric data collection. No wouldn't say esisi so. Na yaje ni na. That process, you know, I'm being careful of my words. If that process was truly perfect, we should have that data of NIN as our primary source.
Okay.
Imagine catch our primary source, you know, one nimpa. We are transferring that primary source onto a technological system, and no na and you be use. Anytime we acquire NIN, we assume that it's you who is there. We data na wo no eyawo. And you know that exercise no was crucial. And to me say na me kwa na me say the data tin na de na me say if we want quality database sanity.
Okay.
Because so when you data enough data echina or person or your analysis of you are he cannot or scanty data and to data no all we of family will say very tedious.
Yeah.
But who we are we believe that national identification had correct data. And me fan say that data was correct. In fact, there are technical issues, if you permit me. Biometric data nankasa ye genokrano. The biometric device can be configured in different ways.
Okay.
There are instances, in fact, I've encountered some of them, or just biometric data, it has been configured so strictly that and not correct emfa.
Okay.
Na nimpa no can say or reduce the straightness. To reduce the straightness into those atos na afa because the sensitivity has been reduced. Now with such configuration and there be like Bako can say fiteni oye one in some oye one in some or the two swine fat or the two swine fat na me data no me ayama humitinti now reduce the configuration na pick data no enti pick ko echina okogoro ne nsa hu yie na fe enye me ho no ba ye another person na bia okro check you the two emfa I am confessing na biometric na I say duplication and now we know the configuration of the biometric device itself can be altered depending on the normally the NIAD, I don't know how they went about it, but whoever is the IT manager in charge should set the configuration once.
Okay.
And the one who is using it at the vendor point shouldn't have access to reconfigure.
Okay.
Obi I was say and we say when the queue no more yanko or yanko now when I would queue no more so our access to reconfigure it once we reduce the sensitivity na
enable you
na
okay
and what it will be inside it say blade be wom and say china who ko baby the sensitivity is higher once if we in fact now woman can say people don't understand some of these things. And these are things that we should also check.
Okay.
In the system.
Okay.
And it could be say you register your BBA, but the data there, the integrity, I will come to that. And yeah, papa. And no, you one.
Okay.
And ti menfa no tunche na menfa ne say BBA you correct wo NIA. So BBA you correct dear. For me, I metie stakeholder engagement I followed everything, I understood, I agreed and came to a realization say data I collected previously it's not really fit for purpose. But and also somebody should be made to answer. Ghana, you should hold people accountable and let them pay or answer in court for some of this. How long will this thing continue? Now papa what expert? Look at the other panel members speaking with technical knowledge. Now didn't for political sake. Now another person and I'll come to this time to how we are going about it. And to say data no and I want a correct. What we should have done was to create an interoperability platform.
Okay.
For any agency that want to authenticate or to verify anybody to sync with NIA.
Okay.
Then legacy data will be with them. So when you call for a particular person, that data will be pulled into your system, cross-check, validate for you, then you go. Now it's simple. But that was not done. Until the woman now the answer pictures near this. So all those things shows there was going to be problems. And we did not have that. So now when we talk about security of a database, we have the CIA. We have different models, but the CIA is the most common one that people know. That any database, is fit for purpose based on confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Okay.
Now, confidentiality, the data you have collected from the people, you must, per our Data Protection Acts, the Cyber Security Acts, and other acts of the country, ensure confidentiality. Sebio, mami penimu, papa penimu, na wakotena akwala bi enim, no bisa say date of birth yada ben. These are personal data that people do not easily divulge to people.
Sure.
And to nimpa na wabetina wana me because government now so nti me bobom me hu samechire no. How sure am I that data that person is collecting, he's going to keep it in confidence? And for I divulging information be bria. And so even the people who collect the data, we must check the integrity when it comes to confidentiality. And your man na ya na ebubu enu so. But wo ho ma no bia enya obi tumi from wo abowo die tu din ase.
Wonti ase.
On shed down so nim, won shed down so nim no.
Yeah.
So the confidentiality should be there, that the data that NIA is holding in trust for us, there is confidentiality.
Okay.
That people there, those who were able to have access to collect the data, are not misusing it, and that they are not releasing information to people. Because another thing, say, data.
Yeah.
For political reasons, for several reasons. Actually, not the not the intimidation. So that is one. Okay. Integrity, the I.
Okay.
The integrity of the database, and I think question in some question you now is here has to do with the integrity of the database, because they cannot verify that you Kojo a one what system no more.
Okay.
And to know the integrity of the database is questionable. What the BBR and shut down and then the availability of the database. At any point in time that it's needed, is it available? That is another thing. Is it the case now that we want to verify? Check that it's you. Is it easily available? If these three things are not in place in any database system, that database is questionable. Okay. And it cannot be used for purpose. Okay. And that is one thing that we'll look at. Okay. Now, looking at what we are going to do now, fine, the minister is doing well, but I thought we had that video. Asante to be corrected. During the vetting, the way he spoke, and now what he's doing, they are not the same thing. That is how I see it. Okay. Now let me explain. In the vetting, he was saying that they are going to verify people. If they verify you and your data is everything is intact. So those who data could not be verified were the people who are going to be re-registered. I said this time around, they are going to verify the data now. If they verify and you are, so he said that not all of us, we can play that thing back. Not all of us, but now it is all of us. And during the stakeholder engagement, I listened to him. I stand to be corrected. He said that it is not SIM re-registration; it is SIM registration, implying that yes, SIM registration. And the first speaker, said it that it's like what we did was not SIM registration. Yeah. And so what we are coming to do now is not SIM re-registration; it is SIM registration. The engagement that is going on. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. I just want to make sure that we are making clear our statements and the things that and technical, because they have technical implications. Yes. If you say you are going to only validate, and those whose data is not validated are those who are going to do it, and now it's like looking at the data is rubbish and everybody has to go about it. They have to come clear. That has to do it. The approach.
Yes. Now, the
approach, please. they said the third party, they are going to do an app and all that. For me, as an IT expert, I believe that there are different ways that we approach things. I believe that NIA should be the starting point.
Okay.
NIA should be the starting point. By now, NIA should have created a portal for us, the members, to log in to access our profile data. So that I log in with my national identification number.
You should be able to see.
Then I see my data, everything. I verify my profile, everything. I will not be able to change it, but I'm seeing the data there. If that portal is available, then that portal should now allow me with a button that add telephone number.
Okay.
Add.
Okay.
Telephone number.
Okay.
Okay. Or whatever. If it's there, we can say that on board or something that to show that now the telephone number you are adding is now going to be tied to your listen. So if that button is there and I click on it, it should be able to connect to the telco's system and down. Let me fill a form, a simple thing that okay, this telephone number, I agree that it should be tied to my ID. When it does it, bam, the telcos have it. You also have it in your system. If I'm going to do another one, like he said, it should give me an OTP on the first one, which has become the primary one. I go into my portal again, add another number. I click on it. OTP will come. Telcos will see. But the time we finish that, and this, if we are 30 million people and about, you get 500,000 people doing it by themselves in their various homes on their desktop. In a day, 2, 3, NIA would have gotten a database that has tied people's telephone number to their data. And the telcos can now verify, because the moment they open the NIA portal and they type your name there, all the numbers associated with you will just pull.
Okay, all right. My main call a ahumane subu na Zoom na mene a samo do na and say I'll come to Honorable Abednego because IT experts is talking about why we have left some of these things are not attended to in terms of holding people accountable. Honorable Abednego member also, but my main call samo do na so see na fe member back now. Sami, what IT ora Nana Kofi Annan on the procedure moving forward now? Ne procedure now or per se in a way of making it work. As your friend is saying, Tech Focus 24. Would you want to agree with this process if it should start?
Very much. I like me points no here because I quite remember I said I had occasion and I asked one of the stakeholders. I don't want to say because it was a private conversation. I asked one of the major stakeholders about this, that even at the stakeholder the engagement, the media engagement, I asked that question. Are we going to have a third party to come just like with that, just like Madam Esla did? And then all of us question what is the role of the third party, the data they are collecting, the integrity of the data they are collecting. Is it going to help us or not? Today we are here saying that it was the third party that they introduced that caused the long queues, and then also they have generated the data that means nothing to us today. So I asked the question: are we going to have a third party again? And if we are, what is going to be the role of that third party? Now, prior to that engagement that I asked that question, I had a conversation with one of the stakeholders. I said, this thing that we are doing, why can't the two state institutions, NIA, NCA, come together? Don't they have experts among them? Our honorable MP said that he has worked at NCA before. I'm sure they have experts. Even the IT person who spoke today, maybe can't they come together and then create this platform by themselves? And then the telcos, then they will collaborate with the telcos and do this thing. Why do we have to go and get a third party? And then for now, they said that the telcos are going to pay for it, so that the third party will be paid by the telco. Why do we need that? The explanation is that the third party is now going to create the platform that is going to be used. And I say, why can't the NIA? And so I like what our IT person has said now, that maybe we should begin from NIA. let the process begin from NIA. Let everybody go on an NIA platform, put in their phone numbers, whatever, and then we create all the rails for the telcos to the API. We give them API. I'm sure the IT person will give them the APIs, key in. Then we go to the conclusion, to the end of the process. Instead of putting a third party, but well, they will say that if you bring in NIA and say that they should now start the process, it means you are now changing the mandate of NIA. Are you turning NIA into a telco now, because now they are now registering SIM? I remember some time ago NIA said that they were going to now make the Ghana card a payment card. So now somebody said that it's not NIA now a mobile money operator, it's not NIA now a bank. You see, so all those questions will come up. So that's why they are claiming that since NIA is not a telco, so then because we can also say that that platform should sit with one telco. So that's why they said that then the NIA and the NCA, who are the main state, now they need a third party to create the platform, to capture the data for them, and then that data will now come and sit, because every data that those people will collect, they said it goes straight to NCA. Well, of course, it's technology. So I believe that at the end of the day, that private person will still have some access to that data, and that is why we need. I thought that even in this engagement, I thought I was going to see data protection agencies. I don't know whether they were there. Yeah. We were mentioning the people there. I didn't hear them mention, because the previous one that we did, they were not party to anything. They didn't know anything. But data protection agency didn't play any role at all. So now we are expecting that they will come in and ensure that that data that will be collected will be. But I would have hoped, like I actually agree with the last speaker, I would have hoped that the two state institutions will come together. With all the experts that work there, they should create this platform. We'll own the platform, and then we'll also own the data, instead of a certain third party coming to own the platform. We never know what bypasses they will create to even wire the data elsewhere. I mean that's another thing. And mind you, I need to make this point clearly. Mind you that they've always sold SIM registration to us as a panacea to mobile money fraud. That is the thing. And every time because they know that Ghanaians are very passionate about mobile money fraud, they sell this thing to us that is what it is. But as I'm talking to you today, can you say as a Ghanaian, that after what ay3hu did, mobile money fraud has gone down?
No.
The answer is a big no. So it tells you that there are still SIM cards in the central SIM register that can still not be traced to whoever is using it to defraud people. So all this selling, that's why if you listen to the engagement, when they ask Sam George, is this final one that you claim the final one? Is it going to be the panacea to mobile money fraud? He said that look, it is going to make mobile money fraud expensive, because one, you are when the thing happens, they are going to block your SIM, and not just your SIM, but now they are also going to register even devices. So they will block your SIM and they will block your device as well. So the next time you want to do fraud again, means you have to go and buy a new SIM and then buy a new phone. So if you want to keep buying a new phone, then keep on defrauding people. So it will make it expensive. But to say that it will stop it totally, that one we cannot be sure. But I can tell you that it will cut down on the fraudulent registrations a lot, particularly this bit of the OTP that they are introducing, where before any other card is linked to your card, it will send an OTP to you to approve or disapprove. So that for me is very, very critical to this process. But I would have wished that this thing is kept within the state institutions. They're not bringing in a third party.
Okay. Sami, medasi, hold on again for me. And I'm call Ora Kingsley Amakwata ho na fe minti ono. So clearly, Ora Kingsley, IT expert trade ya wukan no, especially omo artisans no mo buy den times no mo sano kran den say be finance on fa another way of making them do what they have to do and all that. What's your processes in na any and samaya kana? Do you still believe say the final one here you can say this will be hopefully the final one for us to do the re-registration. You need IT is it registration or re-registration? Ofo say sa system yi idea famu nyina no ebe boamo ama motumi aje mo adwuma ne sene fata.
Ye GD sir, but in say entumi ntwase kra say 100%.
Okay.
By num say a bit me abwan pa ewo akwanyasa pi so. But how kakra na we were contemplating as an association, and it's we were expecting the stakeholder engagement to have taken views from here what ground no. Because mobile money agents, every part of this of Yemen,
sure.
Be a mobile money agent to her. And after re-registration, or say registration, obi better sim be ma ye ho and beba. Remember, said the telcos they don't have office everywhere. It's all the towns, all the villages in Inano, and as agents, and ye were in place of the telcos. So Tini and say. And same registration as a re-registration and our input will be taken. One fear entertaining say a kobasa as we are saying self-registration or self-re-registration. Yan can we say Ghana no enya kra ne tema ana Kumasi pe. There are so many people in there who may not have the technology or the knowledge in handling the mobile phones. Yan they were ground nipa. The caliber of people are mobile shop. Obuha phone crown, what we call the yam phone crown. The operation of the yam phone is difficult to such people. At the end of the day, these people may need an assistant. So we're thinking, say, if there could be something like agent assisted something that we can help these our customers. Yeah, in fact, our priority is our customer. Near see Mrebia, a bar say, you block keeping line, na customers extra line, or honor affect your business. Until now, no, what we were thinking is say, at least we should have been on board, or the mobile money associations, no, they are known ones. Mobile money advocacy group is well-known association in Ghana here. Nanka yenso, yetumini members no akasa. So okay, this is how we are going to do it. Obiba, nasa onwa ontumi nya. That's ABCD. And you are not going to breach any data protection rule. But this time, we are not part. Into Obiba, not say crack him into me, yo. It's like your hands are tied. What you mean, be information? Onipano ma hokwine, and I say emra emma hokwine. Say ye. And these are some of the things that we were thinking. Say, enka empenifono, edikwa dream, and can say, I initially, me can say, now ya truck rat up 1 minute saying one or two things, you know, and probably they would have factored into this project. Okay. I don't know, Saketro, Senketro, Senya Beya, members of villages, the hinterlands, some service, even more visually impaired. Obey here, Obi, say, obey assistant. And I think, say, if they're able to look at this direction, a bit me situation where people will not be able to re-register and their lines will be blocked and all those things.
Okay. Okay, all right. Before Meba Ora Prince Ofosu Sefa, who is the former Deputy Director General NC Operations, Honorable Abednego, maybe that's a question. I want to ask this question before I come back to him in the studio. The issue of you being there, the 8th and the 9th Parliament, tells us that then it means you clearly followed, to up to date what is really happening. Now, Mr. Annan was asking a question and really want to reiterate that. Adentina, and I said, why are we not holding people accountable if indeed the Select Committee on Information and Communication did tell Eslo that the way OC Aircon, just as you said, was not good? Why didn't we hold, her and the office accountable on some of these things that we're talking about?
So thank you very much. Remember that we have separation of powers.
Yeah.
Parliament does an oversight work on the executive. So we, on our part, were able to call Osula Owusu to the floor of Parliament to answer questions with regards to SIM card registration. And we made statements on the floor and made the suggestions. And sometimes we invited him to, we invited her to the committee for her to give us briefing and for us to also advise and, tell her what we think was right and was wrong. But it was for her to take our advice or not to take our advice. That was as far as we could go. We are lawmakers, and if we identify something that is not right and need to correct it, we can only do that by a legislation, by passing a law to correct that thing. But when it comes to accountability, it is the responsibility of the state actors, such as the investigative agencies and the prosecuting agencies like the police CID, like the Attorney General taking a legal action and all of that. That is an executive function. It is not a legislative function.
Okay.
So our functions will stop where we have inquired and we have seen flaws and we have suggested for collections, and where we think that a legislation will solve that problem, then we can come out with a legislation. That is how far we can go.
Okay.
So any committee that works will work. The end result of their work will be to legislate, to solve a particular problem. Do you understand with me?
Yes,
but
I get it now.
Of course, earlier on there was a question about how much was spent in the re-registration of SIM card.
Yes.
That is very, very significant. I remember I filed questions on the floor of Parliament, dragged Madame Osula Owusu to answer, to tell us specifically how much she spent. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The answers were not convincing. And I remember even after she left office, I wrote to the Ministry of Communication asking for that information.
Okay.
That we need to know how much was spent. In fact, not only that alone, there are several actions that and contract that Osula Owusu signed at the Ministry of Communications, which I wrote after she had left as a minister, seeking for answers. And once we get that, then Parliament can now also take action by summoning people to appear before them and giving questions. And where it will have to result to prosecution, why not? I would forward it to the agencies to do more investigations and prosecute. I can tell you several. Look, right now as we speak, we have over 4 million Ghanaians who are not connected to the telecom network. Meanwhile, we have GIFEC, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, that is responsible to extending infrastructure to those communities so that they can be connected. Under Osula Owusu, some equipment were brought in fact, long before COVID. And those equipment were put at bonded warehouses. Till date, they are still lying down at the bonded warehouses. And Ghana is incurring cost. All of that were the things that I wrote for the ministry. The ministry has responded to some of them, others they are yet to respond. And once I get the response and I'm not satisfied, I'll push it to the investigative bodies. Yoko is there, and we need. In fact, SIM card registration is very, very important. If you look at the cost that we incurred in that exercise that has resulted to zero, somebody must be answering questions.
Okay, all right. And clearly, somebody will answer these questions for us. Orasifa Abba Bedu, obviously he was there as the former NCA Deputy Director General in charge of operations. Orasifa Mpacho, good evening. Yes.
It's so bad.
Why?
Why would I go to that level? What does SIM card got to do with GIFEC? What has SIM card got to do with any investigation that you may need to do? Almost year SIM card registration, a year 100% failure in 2012. Was anybody sent to Yoko for it? Under the NDC government, which was 100% failure. Who was held responsible? Who was sent to Yoko? And who was sent to jail for it? 100% failure. This project, as it is sitting at about, to me, it's around 90% success. And you're misrepresenting this kind of project. Why don't they send the report? Yes.
Okay.
Why don't they send the report to the committee so Ghanaians can all get the final report for all of us to dissect it? Now we're talking about investigation. Investigation for what? Exactly. When you've had a project that can be deemed at about 90% success. What are we talking about? Investigation for what? The propaganda is too much in this country. It's too much. Where is the investigation to go? And we said, there is the cost. You are in government, my brother. You are my brother, and you know that. You are in government. You can get every report that you need to get. If somebody has done SIM card registration and you feel cost to be near there, let's not be throwing these dust out there.
But did we have cost to it?
They can get that report. What we don't even have, Mebao. We don't even have. Just a moment.
Just hold on for me.
The project has been completed.
Yes.
Now we are saying yes. The first thing that should have been done was for NCA to get their final report, because before don't be doing something like a peace release. NCA for example, I read in the news media, the DG of the NCA, who I know very well, saying there was no liveness test on the what do you call it, the biometric capture. Of course that was done. I was a co-chair of the technical committee.
Okay.
How were we going to do any kind of contactless biometric capture without liveness test? Who does that? There was liveness test. That was in the report. Unless he was reported wrong, that is totally false. Liveness was one of the first things because it's basic. Obia ye capture any kind of biometrics picture in a year. Liveness test is so basic. The average person may not understand.
Okay.
But the technical person will understand, because ye draw picture is very important. Say ye be who say uye a living person.
Okay.
So to say, and you know, anytime you are doing any kind of this biometric capture, okay, there is a liveness. It's basic.
Okay. So
why did that report again? Unless there is a misquote, why was the DG saying there is no liveness? On what basis? I was there. And liveness was one of the very first things they discussed at the time. We were looking for a smart system to resolve the second stage issues that we had. And I'm sure I'm going to discuss it. So liveness was part. And then he went on to say the pictures taken, the validation between NCA's biometric capture and NIA's was over 81% success. That means that over 81% of the people whose liveness picture, and I'm saying that on authority, liveness was part.
Okay.
Unless something changed when I was away, but I don't believe they would do any such smart system without liveness check.
Okay.
It's virtually impossible for that to happen. And so you try Nipane picture. We are able to verify, say, Unipano a living being, and yet the picture can be a said that picture with a picture.
Yeah.
And also sebi fu or that one ye try na compare the NIA Ghana card. So it's a living being. That's what it means.
Okay.
And all those liveness pictures that were taken matched against the Ghana card, and they passed. Now that data that has been captured, okay, which is at NITA, okay, and they all fall under, of course, data protection. NITA is by law the Ghana's data center repository. That's where the data is stored. So and so it cannot be more secure, cannot be more legal, more lawful than to store our data at NITA. And that data, when according to the DG himself, and they haven't given us the formal report, they haven't even sent it to Parliament for us to have a look at. So but according to him and according to the news release that the media report that we got, over 81% of the validation for the pictures pass, and pictures are biometric. Ufa passport, a picture a woman, biometric.
Yeah.
A picture is also can be a biometric capture. So and if 81% are pass here, validate it with NIA. Whatever the issues that happened at the time, I know how they all happened. This wasn't some personal problems, Keke. And the president, you guys have given him false information, and he's doing the propaganda again.
What kind of false
where
information?
the president was saying, the issues that we had with the last registration was personal because the minister and the NIA head were not talking.
Yes.
They were talking. I attended several meetings and they were both there. They had differences, but to say they were not talking, what does that mean?
So the president might be right.
Hello, my brother.
That there were some differences.
If you have agencies and ministries that have disagreements for one reason or the other, which I hope to get into, is that means you are not talking? What kind of gossipy kind of is that? That nowadays being sent to the president.
Did they process? Did they give you that? Liberty to do what minister was supposed to do around that
Chief,
time?
what happened was that, you see, by law,
Yes.
if you look at the legislative instrument that applied, which was used in the first re-registration from 2010 to 2012, that legislative instrument is LI 2111.
Yes.
And that legislative instrument calls for the use of Ghana card and what have you. You understand?
Yes.
So once the Ghana card has been used, which is what was done for the summary registration, the law has been met. There was this question of we wish to have biometric verification. Okay? And in having biometric verification, it's ideal. It is a wako okoto aba elections. Na yebetimi ahwe wanim akaso wampa asumasi ni nti koto aba. But we don't do that because now we have biometric verification devices. So we can put that there, you put your finger on it. Now identify you more biometrically and verifiably say ampa. You are who you say you are.
Yeah.
That's biometric verification. The law, there was no law that was requiring that biometric verification needed to be done. The laws as we had them at the time of the re-registration required that the Ghana card be used as the authoritative ID for SIM registration and other things. But ultimately, that's what the law required. So when we got to this point, say we wish, because again, I was co-chair of the technical committee on the project.
Okay.
So I was right there from the beginning. And we had wanted to do biometric verification because that is ideal. But at the time, we realized, say, agents are a war Ghana, over 100,000, according to the telcos. And biometric devices for each one of them, when we did the financials, it was prohibitive. It was too much because even electoral commission, yet to about polling stations, we have what, over 28,000 to 30,000, baby, right?
Yeah.
Our more biometric verification devices. And yes, sikaketwa, because one biometric verification device alone is more than even a laptop, some of the high-end laptops. One. And to get for over 100,000 agents, it's going to be just prohibitive. Yeah, analysis, no, not fun. So the next thing that we needed to look at, let's say, if NIA could have a smart system. A smart system is one that uses things like your iris, your eyes, or something like an app, and it can basically do a similar thing, so that you don't have to get a biometric device at every agency to do that biometric verification, which even though the law didn't require that, we wish we could do at the time. And NIA was still working on such a system. They were not ready. This was confirmed in the vice president's office. Okay? And a colleague like Derek Lai just recently on TV3, because some people were disputing this. He was there from the telecom chamber, and other people, many other people were at that meeting. So, right, you were there, okay, but you are aware of it. Okay, so the system was not ready. So, but here is a case where the NDC had given us 100% failed biometric, SIM re-registration as at 2012, 100%. Why? Because at that time, the laws that were used allowed almost any card
to be used.
Yeah. Enti mo probia manako yokwa NDC for mo first, because you came up with a SIM re-registration that failed 100%. So I want it on the record. Say NDC did a failed SIM re-registration which failed 100%. Enti no person do obi ko yoko for costing this country. They should go first.
And then who will go second?
And then we come to 2021. So by 2021, what did NPP do? We looked at why 2012 registration failed. And the first reason why it failed was because the identification that was used was too multiple and not strong and secure enough. So meanwhile, this same NDC government, the previous NDC government, had spent 8 years and they could not develop the Ghana card. 8 good years. The Ghana card that started under President Kufuor, they could not complete it in 8 years.
Okay.
So the NPP came back. NPP came back in 2017, and by 2021, the Ghana card was practically almost all done. By 2021, at the time that we started, October of 2021, I share SIM re-registration as a no. The biggest problem was a lack of a powerful, secure card, authoritative card like the Ghana card, and the NPP did it within the 4 years, something they failed to do in 8 years prior. Propaganda. It's too much.
Okay.
You couldn't even do a Ghana card in 8 years, and you want to say you send who to Yoko, and you couldn't send yourself to Yoko for failing 100%.
Okay. Rasifa, Matiwas, Nana Meba also and Chakra, but I think Honorable Abednego wanted to respond to some of these issues. Nafi, Mr. Anna, but some also, because I'm sure someone will really want to touch on these matters that Rasifa releases. Yes. But Honorable Abednego, let me hear from you. 2-3 minutes on this one. Let me move to the other panel and then come back to you.
Thank you very much. You know, earlier I didn't even realize that it was my former boss, Mr. Prince Sefa, who was actually in the studio. I didn't realize he was the one. As soon as I mentioned Gifek, you know, and into other issues, then he became infuriated. I can understand him, you know. And in fact, he should be very, very honest, because he has worked with the National Communications Authority, where he was my boss before he was moved to the GIFC as the administrator. So he's very much aware of the issues I'm talking about. But I can understand why he's so much infuriated. He should just hold on. It's a process. Whatever it is that happened within the 8 years, okay, will be thoroughly investigated. Nobody will rush into doing anything. I only asked for information. He should just have patience. We will get to the bottom of all of this. If his government thought that we had done something wrong in the previous, before they came in, and they wanted to, in fact, they took people to court. If there was anything wrong that we did with the registration of SIM cards, I'm sure they would have prosecuted people. But for 8 years, nobody talked about it. And then now we are talking about the fact that you spent money, your government spent money, and yet gave us a zero data of SIM card registration. You are not happy about it.
What
now,
does that mean, zero?
he said that the Ghana card was the only card that we're supposed to use to register SIM card. That is not true. He should go back and look at the law. The law that they passed said that it was the principal card, but it didn't exclude. It didn't exclude. It wasn't the sole card to be used for SIM card registration. He's aware, and he knows that.
Yes, exceptions. Exceptions are specified in the law. What are you talking about?
No, listen. The law said the principal card. It didn't say the sole card. So as many
diplomats and there needed to be exceptions, but the exceptions are specified in law.
Can he allow me?
Yes. Twaso.
Because when he got infuriated because I mentioned Gifek and the fact that we are requesting for some information, I can see. I'm sure very, but he should take it easy. We can have a conversation after this. But you see, truth be told, the law that was passed said that the Ghana card would be the principal card. Okay. And we drew their attention that it didn't make it the sole card. And we had debate on the floor of Parliament drawing their attention that other cards could be used, because at that time I indicated that about 30 to 40% of Ghanaians didn't have the Ghana card. So how were you going to make it the sole card for registration? It means that you were going to leave out a huge number of Ghanaians who will not be able to register their SIM card. It wasn't possible.
Okay.
Do you understand? Okay. Then he sits there and then he made allusions to the fact that the 2011 SIM card registration was a failure. He should come again. It was the best thing that happened to Ghana, because as I indicated earlier on, we had passed also a law, and he knows LI 111 was passed to as part of the NCA regulation to register SIM card. Okay. And we came out with 5 SIM cards to make it flexible for Ghanaians who didn't have the Ghana card to be able to use their passport. And if they didn't have the passport, they could use the Electoral Commission voters ID card. That was very flexible in order to get people onto the database. But you came and excluded everybody and gave that were so draconian and forced people to go and sleep at the sports stadium and not still able to register their SIM cards.
All right.
So we are saying that a lot of money was spent. He should tell us how much we spent in 2012 when we did the registration. But in the case of Osulawusu as the minister, she didn't listen to anybody. She spent so much to a failed exercise, and we are saying that we will investigate and we will recommend for prosecution. That's right. I am assuring him.
Okay. All right.
And then he says that, look, and let me end with
yes,
he says that one. We have given the president, untruth, and he's peddling. Let me tell him why. I want to ask him just one question. Why did they remove the NIA, National Identification Authority, from the Ministry of Communications to the Interior Ministry? He should answer that question. It was because of the disagreement between Osulawusu and Professor Ken Atefua. It became so intense that even the big house, even the president himself could not intervene.
Okay.
That to simply move that institution to a different ministry. And he's aware.
All right. All right, Honorable, hold on, Mami. Member also Prince, but Maminti, Minia Nana Kofi IT na I member of CCC and I'm in Kosami. So yes.
Yes, listening to my colleague here and coming from a political perspective, I can understand that having done such a huge work and now another person comes and that. But let me just say in my lane as a technical expert without diverging myself into any other politics. I want them to assure us that, say, one, if we should do data cleaning of the NIA data as against the SIM registration that we did, the outcome will be something that we can work with.
Okay.
If we can get that check, boss. If we do that data cleaning and it's something that we cannot work with, then we should also be made aware.
Okay.
From the stakeholder engagement, it's coming out clear from the stakeholder engagement, and we are available for better particulars when it comes to what was presented. Maybe not all the facts were presented to us.
Okay.
Me, what I'm looking out for is that we must let the technical people, and I know DJ, the current DJ very well, to come with certain technical KPIs. One, the data that we have as the SIM registered data that is sitting at NITA and the data we have with NIA. Have we done data deduplication and have come up with the percentage of that data?
Okay.
And if that is there, like he was mentioning that about 80, I also listened to some 81% or some of the data were matching and that. If that is true, but then I also listen again that data that they are talking about, they could not verify again and say that whether that 81% is truly the people who say they are. That is another thing. So now we are moving from just the rhetorics to a technical thing that the technical people have to speak to it. And that is what I'm saying. Okay. So we need to get the data duplication percentage, data integrity percentage. Then we'll look at where is the data availability. Okay. They say it is with NITA.
So we need to say where
availability.
Okay.
If a telco needs it or somebody needs to verify at a click, is it easily available?
Okay.
If these things are in place, then we can come to a round table. Look at where, because one thing that we should also appreciate is that whatever technology you put in place today, be sure that in the next 1 month, 2 months, it becomes obsolete.
Okay.
So we should appreciate that also.
Okay.
So if something has been done, and in this era, the system there is now maybe obsolete, let's also make it clear that there are better systems, better ways of doing what was done yesterday. Okay. Not necessarily relegating everything, but now making it better, improving it. Okay. But what I am gathering from the stakeholders meeting that was said was that it is not SIM registration, it is SIM registration. And I want to emphasize that because SIM registration, according to Sam Joy, it's like what is there is something to work with, and we are registered. And it's like it's zero, and so we are doing it afresh. Okay. And I don't have problem. Okay. But the politicians need to understand themselves. Okay. And we, the technocrats, we want to let them to understand that technologies, day by they are becoming obsolete. We are getting modern technologies, and as we go along, there's the need to do things in a better and a smarter way. Okay. Let us allow the technocrats to do it, and let's see how things will be.
Right, if I mention the 3 minutes because we have 30 minutes to run up. But I mean, because
Abed Eshase or mention Gifek.
Yes.
I don't want to be too distracted, but just so you know, the State of the Nation address. One of the things I have tried not to do is get too much into an area too close to home. So generally, unless issues of really, really high national importance back within the industry and in my agencies, I try not to be so personal.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But they keep pushing and all that. But just so you know, at the State of the Nation address, the president, the speech, I have it. I'll send it to your producers. BBA President really MPP handing over to them about GIFEC. They have virtually not moved the project, and now you want to accuse somebody of delaying further? You've had over a year and about 1,500 rural sites that had been built. I handing over was almost word for word. I have the handing over reports as of March of 2025. MPP Ejuma and a president, our current president, NDC president, Eridi
Ghana's president.
And Ghana's president.
Yeah.
I say NDC because a handing over work from the NPP
to the NDC. Okay.
And Ejuma Nkwan already. By the way, Abed, just so you know, sir, equipment, the masts.
Yes.
The micro towers.
Yeah.
I toy. Last time I checked, before I even left GIFEC, the value of those steel and next to say we've gained astronomically because steel prices have gone way up since the time of Tosaniman. There were delays because of the debt exchange program, IMF, and all that to the project.
Okay.
Now you're when we throw things out, so I say and he talked about the marriage and all that. Let's not do this kind of stuff. Because need to send will be bonnet. Ya toss steel no value I increases so much. I'm Ghana game with the steel even if we scrap them, the value of them I know for a fact. So say I into your warehouse no project no was delayed. But we built about 1,500 rural telephony sites. And since you've come in, you've added zero, virtually zero. Since you came 1 year. I don't want to get too much into what they've been doing in the meantime because they're too personal. Yes. So let's move on to our SIM project.
Yes, just some 2 minutes on that.
Exceptions were made in the law. And those exceptions, were for people like our diplomats who are abroad. They may not be able to do, within time. We also have guests, for a short time. We don't want to inconvenience them. They have to go get a Ghana card and all that. Those are specified and they are very clear in the law. I govern the process.
Okay.
The executive instruments and all that were applied are all very clear. But the bulk of the people had Ghana cards. By the time a project in the year 2023, almost every Ghanaian could have gotten a Ghana card and done the project. So please, let's not make it seem, people could not, and that we set up draconian. A draconian and can never use Ghana card, which you did everything as a party. Reckless opposition. Mutimi, I can't say, Mam Crawford Crown Koji Ghana card. They went as far as that. And now you want to use that Ghana card to tell us, say, now be registration very well. Okay. With the Ghana card, IMPP, Breho, and oppose. You were even opposing the Ghana card. The NDC was so reckless that even the Ghana card implementation, they were trying to oppose it. So please, just so that in almost all the objective reviews about the 2010 to 2012 SIM registration, it was deemed a total failure. Okay, this is not from me. It's in the industry. Okay. There are very few objective people other than our partisan selves who say the 2012 to 20 was successful. It was successful because the cards were so loose. Okay. You could use even NHIS card. No, governance. Where was the governance for NHIS? With all due respect to NHIA. And you couldn't have been doing such SIM registration with those kinds of IDs and then come here and tell people, you were successful. And then finally, the NIA removal. Please, right from the beginning, Professor Tefa, I know him personally. All right, I am senior from PESCO. And of course, I worked with the minister. The NIA was not under the communications from the beginning. It was placed under the presidency. And the reason why it was placed under the presidency because it had this nationally important project. These are nothing to do with any rift. If there was even any kind of rift, it came because of policy issues and differences, as I mentioned, which would have happened around 2021.
Okay.
The NIA was already under the president. Right. Gossip now, okay. Don't get into that kind of stuff.
All right.
As at the beginning of the government, the NIA was placed under the presidency.
Okay.
Then eventually they realized, it's more of an interior thing. They use technology, but it's not every agency that uses technology that is under the Ministry of Communications.
Okay.
You have DVLA and other agencies. They're heavy on technology.
Okay.
But they realized that it's more of an interior activity, and it was placed under interior. Now you guys are getting into personal rifts. It's one of the things, and you dare say that the project that we all worked on, and as I said, it's about 90% successful.
Okay.
You are saying that it's because of rift between personalities. Are you kidding?
All right.
Let's get serious.
Okay.
Guys.
Sami Dowona from Mayor Tech Focus 24. We're running up. So in 2 minutes, Edian Abeke Chato Amaya listening to Orasifa and Union and Kofi IT and then MP Abednego. Then Abeka Fahuni and Nafi FNC.
Well, my final words are that I would have hoped, we will have this discussion without political equalization. I mean, those of us who are not politicians, when we are part of discussions and then the discussion now turn into political equalization, it's not palatable for us.
Because personality problems. How do we?
It's not palatable for us because you see, 2011, 2012 process ended because every time, like I mentioned earlier, every time they sold SIM registration for us as a panacea to mobile money fraud. When they finished the 2011 one, it didn't end mobile money fraud. After the 2022-2023 one, still mobile money fraud has even gone up more. So to us as consumers, both of them have failed. You see, both of them have failed because what is the bottom line? This is what you sold this thing for us as coming to solve. He hasn't solved it. As I'm talking to you now, even there are new SIMs like MTN 053 numbers and 059 numbers that are being used by fraudsters. How are new SIMs being used by fraudsters when we say that we have a SIM a robust central SIM register, and we are expected to think that this current one is a success? For us as consumers, it is not. Both of them have failed. That is the bottom line.
Okay.
And I personally can tell you my own story, a story that I did to show that this particular SIM register has been breached, and clearly somebody who registered at registered the SIM in Accra ended up his data was used in Kumasi to register 3 more SIMs. The guy is a data analyst, so the guy pursued the matter until he got evidence. He brought me the evidence. I did the story. NCA came out and denied that it is not true. They actually even held a press conference. They went on a media tour to debunk the story. Today we are being told that about 19% of the SIMs in the central SIM register are all fraudulently registered. And yet when we reported these things earlier, they told us that we were lying. So the policy of equalization will not take us anywhere as a people. My final point is this. I think the IT guy was saying something that Sam George said earlier that a lot of us are not going to go register again, but a lot of us will not register. But now he's saying everybody will register. Yes, I think that's what they are saying now, that everybody will register, but it's going to be a self-service thing. So you sit in your house and then go through the process, register. Like I said, we are not technical people, but we are hoping that at the end of the day, the SIM registration house, after it is done, it will solve the problems they claim it will solve. Because the two critical ones, no matter how you look at it, whether you can say 81% or whatever, still the problems that they claim will be solved are still there.
All right. But I say, alright, Kingsley, my minty will final thoughts on all these matters. Nafi, mene honorable in final nafi yenwe bibia yenrapo. Alright, Kingsley, my minty on that one.
Yo, me say, from the side of the agents, no. The say with the aim of financial inclusion and getting the unbanked people to bank, it's our hope that this SIM, whether registration or re-registration exercise, will go on perfectly, so that at the end of the day, the fraudulent activities will be taken care of. And then our fear, as we have said again, that the people who are not educated, people who cannot handle the phones, will not be left out, so that their SIMs will be blocked, whereby it will affect our business. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
All right. But I see Bri. Honorable Bednego, Maminti will last words. Just a minute and a half on this one. Now, for young rapport studio cry. Oh, me sure say honorable line. So
I'm back.
Sorry.
I'm back. I've just joined you back. Sorry.
Okay.
I had a technical hitch.
Okay. So just under a minute, just wrap up for us now. For Yemfa Jumediano and Brave here.
Okay, thank you. So I think that when I mentioned about GIFEC operations, we veered off from the SIM card registration. Obviously, I know why, because my former boss, Prince Sefa, was the administrator of GIFEC when he left the National Communications Authority. So I can understand why he's so agitated. But let me tell him something. Before he left GIFEC, he didn't end his term. He didn't end because he left before the end of before even the elections. Do you understand that? The equipment that they imported, we were told by the minister, I dragged the minister to the floor of parliament to tell us why those equipment were still in bonded warehouses and was attracting penalties. We were paying as a country. Do you understand? We were losing. So if Sefa is sitting there and claiming that it has appreciated in value, it is not true. Ghana has indeed lost money as a result of keeping those equipment at bonded warehouses in Tema. Why? Because those equipment has become obsolete. They are no longer fit for purpose. Because after the acquisition of those equipment, Huawei has come up with an improved version of it. And he knows, Sefa knows, as he sits there, he's aware of the fact that Huawei has come up with an improved version, and therefore those equipment are no longer fit for purpose. And that is why we have to investigate.
All right.
And that was why I wrote to the ministry for them to furnish us with information.
All right.
We were losing paying for the bonded warehouses.
Right.
In fact, I intend to refer that matter to Iyoko to further investigate it. He's aware. And it is interesting today that Sefa can talk. Under Oslo Owusu, he couldn't talk. Oslo Owusu took everybody in the telecom industry. None of them could speak. Today he's free to speak. So he shouldn't let us go there. I intend to take this very softly. We have a database. Let me conclude on the SIM card registration. Yes. The SIM card registration was a failure. We ended up with no data at all that is fit for purpose in this country, and we are going to do a new SIM card registration. And he is aware, as the president indicated today, that the rift between Oslo Owusu and Professor Ken Atefua made the president Nana Akufo-Addo to move the NIA from the communications industry, ministry to the interior ministry. I have been in the industry for a long time, and I know what I'm talking about. He just joined us halfway. I was there before the whole thing started. Thank you.
Let me use this 2 minutes left, and I mention a 1 minute. My Fane, Nana Kofi, under 1 minute. I mean, what will you wrap up with? Yes,
me person me did BB back, which was there before. But yeah, Tama Buzz into the system when Space Phone was moving to Space Phone Areba of those kind of things. Now Buzz of course in the bar who say the mass that is serving you about who's a malam one can issue one.
Yes, I remember.
Yes. Now which means that wherever you are, the sensor you find yourself, the certain antenna that is serving you is able to track where you are. it helps for people to identify
Maybe
the call that is coming.
yeah.
Now, this technology is there. The telcos about has been suppressed.
Okay.
But they, with a small script, you can even begin to know the azimuth of where you are calling from. Some of these things will have to be brought back as a way of helping minimize some of these crimes. So if you are calling and I can tell the mass that is giving me that commission one, this one, it helps to at least leverage on some of this things to minimize the So we should be looking at going into this new SIM registration. We should be looking at these things and bringing it back to me. Otherwise, we'll go back to square one. And so these technologies are there. Let's leverage on them. And let's see.
But I say, Rasifa, running up my
and the American kind of says SIM registration way. Overall, I place the success rate around 90% technically. Okay, there's a lot of misinformation that's going on. Almost can be self-service. We Ghana for dance say you only use an USSD code to link your Ghana card with the SIM. It was self-service. You didn't need to go anywhere to do that. That one is 100% complete. NCA has all the data. The telcos have it in what they call EIR. And then there's a Central Equipment Identity Register, a CER, which is central to all the telcos, owned by NCA, a war NITA, almost all the NITA. Ubia Uko star 402 hash. Wait me check it with your Ghana card number. All the SIMs that are registered to you. All the tools are in place. You bet me making sure say going forward. Remember, now with any new SIM registration since NPP time, there is full biometric verification for all new SIM registration. So while check here, we just have to make sure so we continue the only biometrics also are NCA collect here because NIA's smart systems were not ready. NCA did theirs and they collected data. Collected too. Collected facial and collected the contactless fingerprint. Fingerprint no any NIA for the any. But the picture biometrics work for over 80%. So there's only a gap of about 20%. Biometric validation in the back end. The government should only be bothering those small number of people, but they've chosen it's a scope, a project scope of choice. That's what most Ghanaians are thinking about. And I know it will cost Ghanaians about 200 million. That's my estimation. Really? If I had time, I could have explained it to you. But 43 million SIMs, it can bring a lot of money to a lot of people. They don't have any need because as I can tell you on authority say only about 20% and biometric verify. Okay.
All right.
And if they choose so 100% a project scope of choice by the government.
All right.
Thank you.
But I say